Big shout out to Tommy V in Michigan. He was on fire this morning.
Okay, thank you, Tommy V in Michigan. Yes, sir. If you share my prayers.
Tommy V's on. Yeah, we'll jump over there. How about that?
CR 712, Cheyenne Stokes. Final hearing on the violation of community control. Several allegations. October 24, 2022, charge of petty theft. You understand that charge? Got to verbally answer, yes. Okay. Next one, October 25th, indicted on aggravated vehicular assault and some other charges in Cuyahoga County. You understand that charge?
Yes.
Failed to report contact with the Richmond Heights Police on October 18th of 22. Do you understand that charge?
Yes.
Failed to report contact with Richmond Heights Police October 21 of 22. You understand that charge?
Yes.
July 2nd, 2022, a blood alcohol content of 0.147 along with THC. You understand that charge?
Yes.
October 20th of 2022, positive sample for marijuana. You understand that charge?
Yes.
Mr. Langmack, how does she want to proceed?
Thank you, Your Honor. We're asking to waive the final hearing and admit to the violations.
Is that what you want to do?
Yes.
What is your plea then to those allegations?
Guilty. Guilty.
All right, I'll accept your guilty plea and find you guilty. Mr. Langmack?
Thank you, Your Honor. Obviously, as we both know, Ms. Stokes has other issues in other courts that need to be taken care of. She was gone for a while, had some troubles. I mean, the incidents that are in the violations are from 2022. Between then and now, although not reporting, she has kept herself kind of out of trouble and clean. You know, it doesn't excuse the incidents in 2022.
Well, I mean, nobody knows that, right? You said she's kept out of trouble and clean. Nobody has any way of knowing that, right? Because he hadn't shown up in Cuyahoga and he hadn't shown up here, right?
That's true, yeah. There's no way of knowing, I suppose, anyone without any proof otherwise is clean or not clean. But there have been no other charges that have come along since then. Along that way around 2022, and I'll let her get into this. She wants to speak. There were a lot of issues going on. Once again, not an excuse, just more of a reason and explanation for what was going on in her head and in her life. We understand that there's a likelihood of prison, but we would ask that if prison is your decision and not to continue community control, that you take into account what was going on in her life in your finding of a number for that prison sentence, Your Honor. And I will let her speak more to that.
All right, Ms. Stokes, what do you want to tell me?
Stand up. Just stand up.
You can, you don't have to. No.
Dear Your Honor, I am standing here before you today because of the poor decisions I've made. I want to start by letting you know I take full accountability for every action I've made. I don't expect or want no pity, just want to explain the things I've been through, which got me here today in front of you. I would like to start by saying my life has been a hard one. I lost my father at the age of 13. By the age of 15, I had my daughter in the back. I was in a situation with a guy who was 6 years older than me, so her father is a sex offender because of the situation. So that was very hard for me. At 17, I gave birth to my son and lost my mom shortly after. I took my mother's passing very hard. She was everything you could ask for in a mom, and I only had so little time with her. It feels like yesterday I walked into my mom's room and she was lifeless with just a beating heart. I didn't get the experience siblings had with her. That bothered me for a while, but now I'm more than thankful I got the time I did. I lost myself, better yet, just finding out I never knew myself until recently. In 2022, I struggled drastically with my mental health to the point I attempted suicide. I had taken 500 pills, making my probation officer aware, hoping my life would end. I ended up behind the wheel of my car because at the time I was homeless and sleeping in my car while my children were with their son's father. I had an accident, and when the ambulance arrived on the scene, I made them aware of what I had just done to myself. After that, I remember waking up in the hospital, hooked to a bunch of machines. After a few days, I talked with a mental health specialist about the incident and explained to her I took 500 pills because I wanted out and to stop the sad and lonely feelings I've been having since a kid. They then sent me to a mental facility. No one was aware of what I had done, so I decided to call my sister-in-law and broke down to her, wondering why I was there, what was wrong with me. I didn't know what was wrong with myself. I allowed doctors, counselors to help me for as long as I needed. I got counseling, medication for anxiety, bipolar, and depression. I have been seeing counselors since the age of 12 or 13, and I never actually opened up and said how I feel to this incident. I am no longer homeless or living with people house to house. I got my children and I a house out in Eastlake and have been one of the best accomplishments I've made. I know because my daughter expresses it to me every day. I work a full-time job. I have been on my job for the last 2 years, and they're willing to let me come back. My daughter has played sports for Willoughby Middle School, and she loves it. I recently just was a part of the families who dealt with all the tragedies in the Shoregate Towers. Me and my daughter were there when the garage collapsed. But thanks to my worker, I was able to find the home we stay in now. The hard, sleepless, and rough nights are paying off, just taking a little patience and time. Now that I'm working on my depression, I can see my life differently and the purpose I'm here. I'm letting go of baggage and allowing God to help me express all the built up anger, trauma, and sadness I've had since a teenager. So far, it's putting me in a better headspace and making me a better person day by day. I know not reporting to my probation officer was wrong, but honestly, I was in a bad mental state. I didn't know what to do with myself. I'm disappointed in myself because I only had about 90 days left for my probation out of the 2 years you gave me. I was doing great. I was doing a great job keeping in contact and letting her know everything going on, and I allowed my mental health to interfere with that. I know I have a lot more work to do and with counseling, God, my children, and my family and my parents watching over me, I can get through this all. Thank you for taking the time to hear me today.
Now, when I sentenced you, February 24th of 21, I gave you 2 years of community control.
Mhm.
One of the, and I didn't give you a lot of conditions. I had you get a mental health evaluation and participate in dual diagnosis programming for drugs and alcohol and mental health. So what did you do?
I did it. I did it.
Where did you do that?
Signature Health.
Okay, and so tell me about that.
It was just a regular. I didn't open up like I should have and express things that I've never expressed to anyone. So maybe that was the issue because I finished everything that I was supposed to.
All right, so then when did you end up in the facility after taking the pills? When was that?
2022.
What was the time relation between that and when you got this aggravated vehicular assault charge?
It was in July.
Okay, so this is all the same time frame?
Yes.
Okay. Did Ms. Crook, have you had her this whole time?
I've had her since June of '22 when I went back to felony probation.
Okay,
The time she's referring to though, where she took the pills and crashed her car, was reported in January of 2022.
I
okay.
did that twice. I've had.
See, the big problem here is you told me a whole bunch of stuff that I have no idea of,
Mhm.
because the probation officer has no idea of any of that stuff, right? That's the problem with not showing up. Okay? In addition to another problem with not showing up is you can't get these problems addressed, okay? So what facility were you in after that, after the pill incident?
Richmond. On
Richmond Hospital?
Yeah, on Chardon Road. I
Okay,
was
how
there.
long were you there?
The first time I was there for a good, probably like 2 weeks
When was the first time?
in January 2020, around the 18th of January.
What about the second time?
July, they sent me there. I was in the hospital for a couple days. They sent me there July 5th of 22, and I was there for like 3 weeks.
Okay. And after you completed that, what did you do?
I stopped drinking alcohol and I started taking Zofran. I was injured, so I couldn't really do too much.
What was the Zofran for?
I mean, not Zofran, Zoloft.
Zoloft. What was that for?
Anxiety, depression, and bipolar.
Okay. And who prescribed that? The hospital?
Yes,
All right.
that's the third time in my life I've been prescribed. I've had a suicide attempt at a young age, so I've been through it before, but I've never actually expressed the things I've been through, which is why I completed everything. I never got to the nitty gritty and got down as deep as I should have.
All right. So after you were released from the hospital in July or August, whenever it was, what have you been doing?
Working. I've
Where?
been Monopile on Vine Street.
What's the name of it?
Monopile. It's in the old Walmart building. I've been there since then.
What is it?
A factory.
Okay. What do you do?
Shipping coordinator.
When do you work? What hours?
6 to 2.
Okay. And where have you been living?
I was staying in Shrek. I actually got the Section 8. After being homeless and living in my car, I got the Section 8, and I was staying in Shergate Towers. I applied for the homeowners program. And in the midst of that, they wanted everybody who had Section 8 to move from out of there because it wasn't safe for me and my 2 children. And I found a house on Campers Drive off of Stevens, so 4 minutes from Vine Street.
All right. Who's there with you?
Me, my daughter, and my son.
Okay. And where are your daughter and son living right now?
My daughter's with my niece, and my son's with his dad.
Okay. And what grade is your daughter in?
8th grade.
Okay. And she goes where?
To Willowwick Middle School.
All right. And what about your son?
6th grade.
Does he go to the same place?
He goes to Euclid.
Why does he go to Euclid?
Because he's not too comfortable with where we are because of what happened at Shergate. So he's with his dad right now.
Okay.
But he doesn't. I have full custody.
Okay. So you haven't shown up in Cuyahoga for those cases, right?
Yes.
Okay. Why not?
Yes, but I wasn't aware of it until I got arrested. The paperwork they sent for me went to an address I used to stay at, and I haven't been there. So I wasn't aware of it until I got...
When did you become aware of it? In January when you got arrested for this?
Yes.
Okay. So you don't have a lawyer in that case, right?
No,
Okay.
which is why I asked Mr. Landmark if he could represent me.
Right. So you don't have any idea where those cases are at? Whether there's been an indictment or...
I'm familiar.
Okay. So you're under a jail sentence right now out of Willoughby
Yes.
for what?
Obstruction.
Okay, what was that case all about? Explain that to me.
The day I got arrested, my sister's car, I was driving my sister's car and I went to turn around and she had the push start, but she had the key where she got out at the street over. So the car turned off. So I walked over there to go get the key. In the midst of me coming back, I seen the police. And I'm not gonna lie, I was skeptical about walking up to the police, but something just told me I needed to do what I needed to do to get it over with.
You
Because
walked up to them for what purpose?
I had a warrant. So I
Okay.
felt that I needed to turn myself in basically in a way.
So how did the obstruction occur?
Because when I sat there and they asked me my name, I froze up and I told them my first name, but not my last name.
Okay. So the obstruction is given a false name.
Yes.
Okay. So how old are you?
29.
So where do you go from here?
A lot of places. Starting with mental health and expressing what's really on my mind or what's
Okay.
been bothering me.
That was the idea back in 21, right?
Yes.
Okay.
But I'm not gonna lie to you, in 21, I was still I was drinking and sometimes substance, I wasn't myself. I'll say I wasn't myself. But since January, I don't drink. So it's a difference. I feel a difference. It's a difference. I feel as I can actually express instead of making myself numb.
Do you have anything you'd like to say, Ms. Crook, about any of this?
I mean, just when she was picked up in January, it was at the Plaza Motel. She said she was staying at the Plaza Motel with her sister. And she wouldn't tell the police her name. So I don't know, where the house, if she's had housing for so long, why if she was at the Plaza Motel, they were in room 14 there. Her sister didn't want to give the police her real name because her sister didn't know what Cheyenne had told the police and didn't
Okay.
want to say the wrong thing.
So what about that?
I was not, when they got me, I was not at the Plaza Motel. The car was in the street over from the Plaza Motel, and it stopped. I turned around in someone's driveway.
Okay, what were you doing staying at the Plaza Motel?
My sister and her baby, it's actually my best friend, but like a sister. Her and her child's father were staying at the Plaza Motel. I currently have a house on campus. I'm through the Section 8 program, so you could actually see
Okay.
where.
Here's what I'm going to do with you.
Mm-hmm.
You're serving this Willoughby sentence.
Mm-hmm.
So all this stuff that you've told me today, almost all of it, is I'm hearing for the first time and Jamie's hearing for the first time. Okay?
Yes.
So I'm gonna bring you back here. Chuck, are you available on the 27th of March?
Yes, Your Honor.
What, how about 11:30?
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna bring you back here, March 27th, 11:30 for sentencing. In the meantime, Ms. Crook is gonna give you some releases to sign, so I can find out, so you need to tell her who you went to for any mental health stuff, what hospitals, what doctors, all that stuff. So I can gather these records, so I can find out exactly what's going on.
Okay.
So she's gonna come or see you, or do you go see her or they bring her up?
I'll have her brought up.
Okay. And we'll find out exactly what's going on. So March 27th, did I say 11:30, Chuck?
You did. Yes,
Okay. Okay, anything else, Mr. Langmack?
Nothing else, Your Honor.
All right, that's it.
All right.
Stokes here for sentencing, Mr. Langmack.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, we are asking to keep Ms. Stokes on probation. Realize there's been several issues that have been going on since she has last been to probation and last been in this courtroom. There are pending cases in both Richmond Heights, or Lyndhurst Court through Richmond Heights, the city of Richmond Heights, as you're aware of, as well as in common pleas done in Cuyahoga County. These are issues that she needs to address and that obviously will be addressed after this. She has been away from probation for quite some time. She has gone through a bit of a dark period in her life that she was not coping with at all, let alone well. She resorted to pills, alcohol, drugs, self-medication, as we all know, and she knows, knew then and knows now, it doesn't help. It doesn't fix anything. It'll only make things worse. She was diagnosed bipolar, depression, and anxiety. She was not seeking help for it.
Diagnosed when?
Been diagnosed since a teenager,
Okay.
and then recently, again, when I was on probation, I was to do mental health, and I did it, and Signature Health diagnosed me.
Okay. Go ahead, Chuck.
Thank you. She was not doing what she needed to do to address that specifically. She is now on meds. I think it's Lyrica, although I don't know if she's getting it in jail. No. She was on medication, Lyrica, to help treat these issues that she has. She has tried to turn her life around as well as she can. She bought a house in Eastlake. Before that, she was in the Shoregate Towers, we're all familiar with, damaged in that garage collapse. Clearly had to find a different place to live. As I said, she bought a house in Eastlake. She's living there with her two kids, a 14-year-old daughter and a 12-year-old son. They are at Willowick Middle School. She knows she screwed up. Bottom line, she wants to attempt to make it better, wants to fix it, needs to address all the issues, all the pending cases, and is asking for another chance, although she knows she doesn't deserve it, so to speak. She messed up, and she knows. She's just begging for another chance, not a second chance, but another chance, Your Honor. And we're just putting that to you and hope you have mercy on her. I know she has family here that want to speak. If they could do that, we'd appreciate it.
All right, whoever wants to talk, just state your name and tell me what it is you want me to know.
Good morning, Your Honor. My
Morning.
name is Lauren Hill, and I will be speaking on behalf of her daughter, Terry Stokes. She wrote this letter and wants me to read it to you. Dear Judge Donnell, I hope this letter finds you well. My name is Terry Stokes, and I am writing to share my feelings about my mother. I understand that she made mistakes, but I believe in her capability in change and growth. Allow me to express my thoughts. In August 2023, our family faced a terrifying incident when our apartment on 30951 Lakeshore Boulevard gate caught fire and the garage collapsed. Amia and the Chayos, my mother acted swiftly to ensure our safety. She found us a new home at 593 Campers Road, where we have been living ever since. Over the past year, my mother has transformed. She has healed and now has her own place. I live with her in our home in Eastlake, Ohio. My mom encourages me to try new things like joining a track team. She says it's good for my confidence. Every morning she ensures I am up on time and ready for school. Every evening she prepares dinner for me before bedtime. My mother's determination and commitment to our family has been exceptional. She's never gave up on us, even during the toughest times. Recently, I started tracking my first meeting schedule for April 4th, 2024. It would mean the world to me if my mom could be there to cheer me on. I kindly request your understanding and compassion as you consider our situation. My mother's love and dedications have shaped my life, and I believe she deserves a chance to continue being the wonderful parent she has become. Thank you for your time and consideration. Sincerely, Terry Stokes.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Stokes, what do you want to tell me before I impose sentence?
Once again, I take accountability for everything I've done, and it doesn't make it okay. And I don't want any pity, but I'm not perfect. And I have been through a lot, and I've been a mother since 15. I've been parentless since 17 and a half with 2 children. I managed to graduate high school. I've managed to go to a Cleveland Job Corps and get certificates. I'm adopted. Um, I find my biological mom like in 2017 to find out she's a like full-blown drug addict. I was trying to find out our health history, and because the things that I've dealt with mentally, I was trying to figure out if they were hereditary. And she couldn't tell me anything because she's on drugs. And I tried to find my siblings, and I couldn't. One of them killed herself due to mental issues, and the other 2, I have no idea where. And she has no idea who my father is, so I really have no idea where I came from. Um, Besides that, I've been a very good mom. I'm hardworking. I still have my job till this day. 2022 was a bad year for me. I messed up a lot. But 2023, I worked on myself and I did everything different. And I wasn't homeless anymore. I got me and my kids a house. I stayed in the house. I worked hard. I worked on myself physically as far as like I have acid reflux health issues. And my next thing to do was to get my legal issues and my mental together. So I worked on myself basically physically and emotionally, and I need to work on myself mentally and financially. And I don't know, I'm just asking for another chance if it's possible.
What's going on with your case in Cuyahoga, the felony in the misdemeanor case?
I'm not sure. I've had my family call down there. I'm we're pretty sure I'll get bond once I go down there, but they want to see me first. And then I was gonna find a lawyer and everything of that nature.
All right.
It's just one step at a time.
So you said 22 was a tough year.
Yes, one of the worst.
23,
Was it? It was to be honest, it was one of the best years because I actually stood back and was in a house with my kids and actually had stability, and I could work on myself and the things that were wrong with me as far as like my attitude and me emotionally and grieving and things that I've never actually worked on because I was always out on the streets or running or doing something.
all right, what did you do with signature?
I actually did I did drug and I passed it, and then I did mental health and it was finished. I finished everything, and actually
When
February-
when did you finish that?
it had to be, I'm not sure when, but I know in February or March of 22, I was at the probation office, and I had like 4 different probation officers. So at that time, she filed a letter to use asking for me to be off probation because I finished everything besides paying my fees. So I completed everything that probation asked me to complete.
Well, when you, from what I understand, you went to signature, went to 3 sessions and then stopped going.
I was complete. Everything was completed.
Is that what you have, signature?
That's not what the signature health records indicate.
What do they indicate?
They indicate that the assessment was completed and she attended 3 sessions and then stopped going. Her last interaction with them was May 25th of 2021.
Okay. So I reviewed the letter you sent me,
Mm-hmm.
okay? And that letter, which is 6 pages long,
Mm-hmm.
identifies a lot of problems going back a lot of years.
Mm-hmm.
So when you went to signature and they evaluated you,
Mm-hmm.
I find it hard to believe that they wrapped everything up in 3 sessions.
I didn't express everything that I should have expressed.
Why not?
Like I wrote to you in a letter. It's hard. It's
Right.
It's hard. It's hard. That's all I can say. It is hard. It's tough. It's hard.
Okay, so you didn't deal with it in 21, and 22 was a complete disaster. And from what I understand, the one charge is pretty serious with the vehicular case. Sounds very serious. Some bad injuries. You've never been to court for that? You didn't show up at court?
I didn't. They sent me papers to an address, but I didn't live there, so I never received the papers. So when I got arrested this time, they had me sign a paper saying that I would go from here to there.
I assume there's a holder, Kaylee?
Correct, Your Honor.
Okay. So your case here is less serious than your case there. The most serious thing about your case here is you didn't show up. And you didn't show up for a whole bunch of reasons, some of which you indicate, some of which maybe there may be more to it than that. I don't know. Okay. But clearly, I don't know what's going to happen with that case in Cuyahoga. As far as this case deals more with your overall situation of where you're going to be at, not in 2 weeks or 2 months or 2 years, but in 10 years where you're going to be at. Because clearly, unless you get unless you become honest with yourself so you can deal with whatever you're dealing with, things won't change until you do that. I'm not guessing at that, right? That's a fact, because you didn't deal with it in 21, and 22 occurred. So you got to figure out what you got to do to get yourself right. And in the meantime, you're going to be dealing with Cuyahoga, but and I don't know what's going to happen. You're going to go from here to there and deal with those charges. Okay. So I'm going to extend your community control, since you disappeared for a year or so, to February 24th of 26. How long has she been on this violation, Kaylee?
She has 52 days on this violation, Your Honor.
52?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to give you 56 days or 58 days in jail. She doesn't run again until Friday?
Yes.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna give you 55 days in jail with credit for 52, which means you should be released from this sentence on Monday, at which time you're gonna go to Cuyahoga County. Now, in the event that Cuyahoga County screws up and fails to get you, then one of the terms is you're to turn yourself into Cuyahoga as soon as you're released from here. If they don't take you for whatever reason, and they've been known to screw up sometimes, if they don't come and get you, it's your obligation as part of your probation to turn yourself in down there. You understand that?
Yes.
So when you have that ability, you're to go back to Signature and do what you're supposed to do for your own purposes with Signature. And follow their recommendations. No drugs or alcohol. You're limited to one doctor, one dentist, and one pharmacy for prescription medication. If you're prescribed medication, take it only as prescribed, sign releases, and get full employment. And whenever you're able to, which who knows when that's going to be, get a valid driver's license and pay the costs and fees. Any other terms, Ms. Warren?
Nothing further, Your Honor, thank you.
You understand the terms?
Yes.
All right. So you're going to get released from this Monday and then deal with Cuyahoga and then deal with yourself. Anything else, Mr. Langmack?
Nothing else, Your Honor.
All right.
All rise.